Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm David Vogel, Judge Executive. Happy to have all of you here today for our meeting, today being August 16th already, 2022. We always stand at the beginning of the meeting for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask Denise Clark now to please call the roll.
Magistrate Likens, Magistrate Tice, Magistrate Woosley, Magistrate Greenwell, Magistrate Hounds, Magistrate Hawkins, Magistrate Dye, Magistrate Logston, Judge Vogel.
Having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So, second.
Are there any additions? Measure Greenwell.
Thank you. I'd like to have added for discussion disaster relief for Eastern and Western Kentucky.
Let's add that after community business. And, all right. Any other additions? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now Denise will go through the minutes of our last meeting, which was on August 2nd.
The Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a regular meeting at 2 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, County Attorney John Carter, and the following magistrates in attendance: Prince Likens, Wayne Tice, Kevin Woosley, Steve Greenwell, Chris Howe, Stephanie Hawkins, Bob Dye, and Michael Logston. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the agenda. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to approve the meeting minutes from July 19th, 2022. Motion carried unanimously. Peely Valley Fire Protection District Board Chairman Joe Burkhart and Chief Matt York presented information related to the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget and to the ad valorem tax rates, which will stay at the same rate of 10 cents per $100 value on real personal property and 10 cents per $100 on motor vehicles, watercraft. Chairman Burkhart and Chief York responded to questions from the court. The following bids were opened and read aloud for the animal control building construction. Bid package concrete, East and Westbrook construction, $338,334. Electrical package, Mars Electric, $298,700. Johnson Group, $334,940. Plumbing package, New Century Plumbing, $572,500. HVAC package, Thompson Heating and Cooling, $361,216. DeBraw Kumpel, $443,950. Legacy Heating and Air, $469,700. Glass and glazing aluminum framed entrances and storefronts package, W.R. Cole and Associates, $89,900. Masonry package, Central Construction Company, $572,000. Painting package, Chambers Painting, $69,840. Jennings Enterprises, $77,394. Millwork package, U.S. Specialties, $43,294. Commercial doors package, Klein Brothers, $79,636.98. Following bid was opened and read aloud for the Spring Hill Trace sidewalk construction. Excel Excavating, $467,827. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to authorize the payment of the payables. Motion carried unanimously. Magistrate Hounds presented for first reading the proposed golf cart ordinance. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Logston to approve the take-home vehicle policy allowing police officers that live within the KIPTA region to take home vehicles. Motion carried 8-1 with Magistrate Tice voting in opposition. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to award the bid for the Goshen Hills Phase 2 and Lakeview Estates Drainage Improvement Project to All-Terrain Paving and Construction for the base bid plus alternate one option in the amount of $745,794. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Dye to authorize Judge Vogel to sign the agreement with Louisville Paving for the Buckner Connector construction project in the amount of $3,150,000. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to authorize Judge Vogel to sign the contract with ACOM for an amount not to exceed $200,380 for the Buckner Connector project construction inspection services. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Tice to award the bid for road salt to Maxi Salt in the amount of $104.95 per ton for 2,800 tons of salt. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to hire Colin Maher as a 5-year lateral police officer at $26.06 an base hourly rate effective 8/29/2022. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to hire contract employee Joe Dennis as School Resource Officer, Patrol Officer as needed, effective 8/3/2022. Motion carried unanimously. Judge Vogel announced the retirement of Tommy Smith from Animal Control effective 7/31/2022 and thanked him for his 24 years of service. Judge Vogel announced the resignation of Amy Alvey from Planning and Development Services effective 7/31/2022 and congratulated her on her new role as County Clerk. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to approve the status change of Larry DJ Harrod to part-time dispatch at $25 an hour, effective 8/3/2022. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Hawkins to appoint Charles W. Ward III to the Board of Adjustments with a term to expire 1/1/2023. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to appoint J.D. Sparks to the South Oldham Fire Protection District Board with a term to expire 6/30/2023. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Hawkins to reappoint Iva Davis to the Oldham County Planning and Zoning Commission with a term to expire 8/21/2026. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to reappoint Thomas Elder to the Oldham County Planning and Zoning Commission with a term to expire 8/6/2026. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to appoint Clayton Raymer to the Code Enforcement Board with a term to expire 10/2/2024. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to appoint Michael Plumley to the Library Board with a term to expire 10/1/2023. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Likens to appoint Mike Adams to the North Oldham Fire Protection District Board with a term to expire 6/30/2023. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Woosley to appoint Ryan Steele to the Westport Fire Protection District Board with a term to expire 6/30/2024. Motion carried unanimously. Magistrate Tice led a discussion regarding the Schambach Park project. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 3:59 p.m.
You heard the reading of our minutes from August 2nd. Is there a motion to approve? Second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And I do not have any board appointments today. Got them all in last time. All right, time now for public comment, the time during our meeting when anyone who would like to address the fiscal court about an item of community interest is able to do so. Is there anyone here to address the court today? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment, and we'll go on to our first item on the agenda today. That's a budget and tax presentation from the Oldham County Librarian, Julie Wilson. Julie, come on up. We're very happy to have you here today and congratulate you on your new position.
Can you hear me? Now you can. Hi. I brought a little colorful handout for you guys because I know you get a lot of boring stuff, so I decided to add a little color for you. And also copies of our newest brochure. So I want to introduce myself. I know some of you guys have known me for a long time, but my name's Julie Wilson. I took over as director of the library on May 2nd of this year. I've been with the library since January of 2013, but I'm enjoying this new role as director. So I'm here today to let you know that the Library Board of Trustees approved the compensating rates, tax rates for the year 2022 on August 4th, 2022. I've given you a chart of the tax rates here over the last several years. You'll see that the real property has remained consistent. The personal property rate has gone down each year over the last 4 years, and the motor vehicle has stayed the same. I've also given you annual projected revenue is $3,429,223, and also in this report given you what we actually took in last year versus the projected revenue, which is a little bit less, but that's okay. So the library's overall financial position is very strong. We've been saving money over the last several years, but we like the Oldham County, but we are getting ready to spend some of that savings on some big projects soon. So 2 projects that we have coming up, we're going to be renovating our South Library. That building is only about 3,000 square feet. It was established in 1981, so it definitely needs a little bit of work. So we are working with a design firm to do some renovations there. The second thing, I know you guys are all aware that we are building a new facility in Goshen. So this is taking up most of my time these days. We are going to have a 16,000 square foot library portion and then 1,000 square feet, as you know, for the county clerk's office. We're really excited about this. We received a land donation, as I know you're all aware. Judge Vogel and Jim Urban were really crucial in us securing that donation, so we thank you for that. We're also excited working with Amy Alvey, our new county clerk. I've already met with Amy and with our architect, and we're working on sort of the specifics of how that 1,000 square feet is going to be laid out, and all of that planning is going very, very well. Some of the highlights of our new building are going to be a large meeting room with a presentation kitchen. We're going to have an amphitheater outside. We're going to have a natural outdoor play space with walking trails on the property. As you know, our current branch is on the Creasy Mayhan Nature Preserve. So one of our big goals with this project is to have a connection to nature with this new property. It's a beautiful piece of property right next door to the Lions Club in Goshen. As you know, our Goshen area is beautiful and very picturesque, so we want to maintain that sort of pastoral feel and just really have a beautiful connection between the inside of the library and the outside. We're also going to have a large children's area and a separate space for teens. So we're very excited about all the possibilities that we'll have for programming and community functions there at the new space. We are very excited at the library to kind of be getting back to normal. We are back to almost all in-person programming at the library. We did a lot of virtual offerings during the pandemic so far. A couple of things are still sticking. We still have some virtual book clubs. We're still doing virtual writing clubs, things like that, for some people who are still, staying close to home and being careful. But our programmers are very thrilled that they're almost done with doing things virtually, because it did have its challenges. We do have a new board member, as was in the minutes. Michael Plumley has just joined us on August 3rd, and we're very excited to have him and to have a full board again. As you know, we've been grieving the loss of our former treasurer, David Hutchinson. So after taking time to grieve that loss, we are glad to have a 5th member on our board again. That's all I have for today.
All right, Julie, does anyone have any questions here? Woosley.
Not a question, just a comment. We can't have a thriving community without a thriving public library, and we have a really good one in Oldham County, and we appreciate you. We're looking forward to being there. And I just want to thank you for working with us on the North Oldham Government Center. So
thank you very much. We're excited to work together on whatever we can in the future with the county.
Major Greenwell.
When do you anticipate breaking ground for the new library?
Yes, we anticipate breaking ground in the spring. We're going to construction document phase, hopefully middle of September, with hopefully opening in the spring of 2024. I know you guys know how these things go, so that's kind of a best case scenario at this point. So fingers crossed.
All right. Anyone else? Well, I remember, I believe it was 2010, one of the first appointments that I was able to make was Julie to the Oldham County Library Board. You were a board member then, became an employee subsequently, and now you're director, and I'm very proud of you and happy for the success you've had, and wish you and all the staff the very best. So,
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of your support.
thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to move on now to another budget and tax presentation. And happy to have Chief Hewitt Brown from the North Oldham Fire Department here today. And Chief, welcome. Glad to see you.
Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for letting me sit up here and tell you a little bit about the finances and what we're doing with that this year. We're super fortunate in our district, and I think Oldham County in general, but our district, especially, at least that's the math that I do, so that's what I'm looking at, is that we've been growing about 4% a year as far as our tax income goes. That's been pretty steady. There's regular development in our district, albeit, small. We're fairly landlocked, but, the size and median cost of houses is pretty high, so it kind of balances itself out. Along with that, we have some additional income from a cell tower that we own, and so that gives us some latitude and some additional income that's outside of our normal tax revenue. So just to get the details out of the way, and I'll tell you a little bit what was happening this year, we went ahead and kept our tax rate at 9 cents on the dollar, and it's been that way since 2017. We find, again, with the increase in our tax income and the additional revenue, we're able to do what we need to do with the income that we're getting currently. Okay, so we also have that luxury of that additional income. Like I said, we're growing. We're making about 600 fire runs, EMS runs combined a year. In my 15 years up with it, that's almost tripled. Still not New York City or anything, but we are getting busier as the county gets busier. The other thing I think is a little different about our department than many of the other departments in the county, and again, it all has to do with districts and how things play out. We're a fully paid staff department. Everybody's part-time with the exception of 3 full-time administrators, but full-time, part-time, if that makes any sense. So we run 2 staffed stations 24 hours a day with 3-man companies, so 2 3-man companies. We're able to do that because everybody's part-time, so we don't pay into the retirement that you might see at a more traditional fire department. It keeps our personnel costs fairly low, but that is where we've chosen to invest a lot of our funding rather than in apparatus and other things. Okay. So this is the first full year of that staffing program, and it's really paid off some benefits with some of the structure fires we've had, mostly being able to deliver a lot more water via tankers to some of these areas within the county. And I'm sure you've had these discussions with other fire chiefs where that water supply isn't available because of, low pressurized mains or just no mains existing at all. So additional staffing has really helped with that. Some of that is very specific to our district. Okay. So that's worked out well for us. It's also worked out well for us financial with the windfall that we had last year. There was a combination of, I think, part of it was COVID and low staffing numbers, because people were off a lot. And also tax revenue ended up being a little bit more than we thought. Our income from the cell towers ended up being a little bit more than we thought. We ended up with about $140,000 windfall, which we put $120,000 of into our cash reserves. So we have a pretty specific capital allocation plan we try to base on. It's loosely based on depreciation, although we all know with rising costs, things like buying new apparatus, it doesn't necessarily work out that way. The idea is, we're sitting at about $800,000 in cash reserves. The idea is to buy any new apparatus with as little debt service as possible, right? So as much as we can possibly do for cash. The plan made a lot of math sense 2 years ago. It's getting a little bit more struggle with increasing prices, but the idea is to keep debt low. Currently, the only debt we have is about $110,000, $120,000 that we pay on debt service for our Goshen firehouse. The plan is to keep it that way as much as possible. All right. Just want to see what else I want to mention here. Again, we look out 10 years on those cash purchases and try to accommodate for that within our budget. Last year, we put about $10,000, if you break down that $120,000, away each month, although we did it at the end of the year with backlogged it all. Next year, we're hoping to put more like $15,000 to $20,000 away to those cash reserves because we realize these costs are starting to go up. Just on some stuff we're planning for the coming year. Again, we continue that additional staffing, but also we're really trying to open up the community outreach. So we've already done for 4 or 5 years now community CPR classes. Those are free to folks in our district, and that's about $25 for anybody who's outside of our district. The other thing we're adding to that service is Stop the Bleed classes. So we're going to do that once a month at the firehouse, and also really reach out to the schools in our district and try to provide that service free of charge for people. And along with that, there's some equipment that's required to stop the bleeding if you run into that situation. We've got some cash put aside to provide that to schools as well, so that we can start moving towards, if we're training people to do things, they should have the equipment to do it rather than wish they had it. Okay. So all that is part of our plan for the coming year.
All right, Chief, thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions for Chief Brown, Magistrate Likens?
Thank you, Chief. How are you all staffing the Skylight Fire Department?
So that firehouse is staffed with three people 24 hours a day. We have rotating 6-day shifts. I know that's confusing, but all we really is important is that there's 3 people running. Usually we have, I don't know if you've seen our smaller apparatus, because of the roads out there, we have this thing called mini pumper to access that. 2 people in that, and then 1 person in a tanker to bring that additional water, and they run together all the time. So those folks are there the whole time. Yeah.
All right, Magistrate Woosley.
Chief, you have about 9,000 hours listed on your report here, training hours for your staff. Oldham County Fire Departments have a joint training group, except for North Oldham, and you guys don't participate.
We did at one point pull away from that, and we're easing our way back into that. You know, we had a pretty, some of you guys might have seen it in the paper and on the news, about 5 years ago, pretty dramatic transition that we went through. We're moving back towards working as much as we can with the county. You know, for example, we had a big training last night that we were involved with. And financially, we're also moving back towards that. As along with helping out with some of the recruiting and retention throughout the county, because while we currently don't have volunteers, that's a big part of the support we get, you know, from other departments when we use mutual aid. So that training element and that recruiting element's all part of moving forward what North Oldham's going to be involved in. Yep.
So you're joining the training?
Yeah, we've been participating in that for about the last year and a half. Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Chief, I know that Randy Shearer retired as your chairman after, I know it's mid-teens, 12, 13, 15 years long.
On the board as long as I've been a firefighter there, so 20 years now.
20 years. Well, Randy has done a tremendous job, and certainly want to publicly acknowledge him as somebody who's given a lot to the community and thank him. Has your board chosen a new chairman yet?
Yeah, Brad Keller is the new chairman. He's our firefighter rep. He's also an executive with Humana, so he's got a little bit of all that experience.
Great. I hadn't heard that yet, so...
We just had a late meeting to decide that, to get them all back in town, because I guess they all went to Florida.
All right. Okay, great.
Reporting all that.
All right, thank you for being here today. Appreciate the good work being done at North Oldham.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you. Next item on today's agenda involves bid openings for some paving work, and also a third item, a variable air volume controllers retrofit. So I guess the first item is County Road Paving Group 2, Fall 2002. And I believe we have apparently 4 bids on this. Is that right? Right. First bid is from Flynn Brothers Contracting, and total price not to exceed $251,910.34. The second bid is from Libs Paving of Floyd Knobs. $238,546.50. The third bid is from Louisville Paving, $249,902.75. Our fourth bid will be from Riverside Paving, $244,442. So we'll turn these bids over now to Melissa Horn, County Treasurer, and are we prepared to award these bids later today or by the end of the meeting or not? Okay. County Engineer, will go ahead.
We'll review them later and ideally award them later. I would like to clarify, you'll see your opening bids for Group 2 and 3. There were a few addenda that we had to issue late towards the bidding process, and as a result, Group 1 has been postponed until September 2nd bid opening, and that also included it was an extension of the completion date. That was a result of communication with contractors and identification or observation of other projects that we've seen. Contractors are very busy, and we could probably get more competitive bids by extending that completion date. So those roads that were on Group 1 will get done this fiscal year, just an extended completion date.
All right.
Completion date going to be then?
Set it at, I think it's June 2nd of 2023 right now.
All right, the next series of bids has to do with paving in Pee Wee Valley. And the first bid is Flynn Brothers, $85,773.80. Second, excuse me. The second bid is from Libs Paving, $72,988.50. Louisville Paving is $81,562.20. Our fourth bid is from Riverside Paving, $86,966.50. Right? Thank you. Now the third item we have here is a variable air volume controller retrofit. Is that in here? All right, two bidders on this project. Alpha Mechanical, $102,097. Second bid is Control Solutions of LaGrange here. And that would be $93,769. Well, put a slip back in here for you. Thank you. We thank all the bidders. We appreciate everyone whose support and interest in the Oldham County projects. Judge?
That retrofit, where is it going to be done at, or what is it, on a building or a system, or? Okay, this building here? Okay, thank you.
Is that the louver project we were talking about?
I'm going to ask Joe Kelly from our maintenance department to come forward and provide any answers the court has asked, questions to the court.
It will be on the new part of the courthouse. All the equipment's getting to the point where the controllers are starting to break. We're upgrading one at a time. By the time we upgrade one or two here and there, we're already getting behind to where we're out of date. So we run a system called Niagara, which is basically building automation. I can remote in from anywhere. I can tell you what your room's doing. But with the controllers getting older, I can't tell you like humidity in the building. I can't. Just everything's getting out of date. So as our building automation upgrades, our controllers are out of date. We're losing capability to see stuff. So we'll go to every VAV box in here, which is, I think there's roughly 32 remaining. We will get a new controller at the VAV box, and we'll also get a new stat, which will allow us to pull information.
VAV box.
Is your variable speed. So it has basically a fan in there. That fan will ramp up or slow down depending on demand of the unit. The VAV also controls basically your heat and air. So if I need more air to move across that coil to give you heat, it's going to do that. If I need it to back off, give you cooling, it's going to do that. So without your VAV boxes, you don't have climate control in your building.
Separate from the louvers. This is separate from the louvers that we were talking about in the past?
Don't know what we're talking about.
The louver system, when we put the new HVAC system in here, we were talking about the $90,000 to replace,
The recent retrofit on the old half of the courthouse, which would be the VFRs.
the initials, but I thought that we called them louvers, and it was $100,000, and you all were gonna buy them and put them in yourselves.
You're probably talking about the same thing. No, they actually have to be installed because I can't do the programming of those. So you're talking about the same thing, but they're actually VAV controllers is what they are.
Project that we were talking about when we were doing the budget was you all doing the labor. This that we took the bid on is the parts and labor to do the work.
Parts and labor, there was confusion, I think, whenever he was talking to you guys, that it was always originally a mechanical contractor doing it. They have to do the install. So that is parts, labor, that's everything out the door that'll get us done.
Any other questions for Joe here? All right, Joe, thank you. Next item on today's agenda are the payables, and when you're ready.
Second?
Any discussion on anything on the payables today? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, under community business here, item B, the Oldham County Fiscal Court tax rate and resolution for the, this is resolution number 01081622, whereas property values have increased in Oldham County, and whereas the application of the existing tax rate of 8.7 cents per $100 to the current tax assessment of property subject to tax, excluding new property and personal property, will produce more revenue than the previous year. And whereas the state and local finance officer has determined that the rate would produce approximately the same revenue as the previous year, known as the compensating tax rate, is 8.5 cents per hundred. And whereas Oldham County Fiscal Court desires to keep the current tax rate of 8.7 cents, now therefore be it resolved that Oldham County Fiscal Court hereby adopts the tax rate of 8.7 cents per $100 of property value for the year 2022. So, is there a motion to accept this resolution?
Second.
Is there any discussion here? Right, might add the keeping the rate the same will produce $215,000 more countywide revenue than was projected for received for this year, and our total property tax revenue is $5.8 million. Hearing no further questions, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the litter abatement grant. Becky Zockline.
Members of the Fiscal Court, today I'm asking you to allow Judge Vogel to sign our annual litter abatement grant application. It only requires a signature. Annually, we are paid approximately $72,000 to clean up roadside litter.
A motion, Judge.
Then seconded, I sign the litter abatement grant request. And are there any questions about this? Manager Down.
I looked at the document and don't see anything that is numbers other than it's just the grant year, federal ID, the county and that, but the document's not filled out for the judge to sign. Is that because?
Require anything other than a signature and identifying, our name and address. But the Division of Waste Management calculates our road miles, generally state roads, but also some county roads that are eligible for litter pickup and that are
the amount of the grant is based on those road miles. And this particular year, we received about $10,000 more because of previous year's money that was not spent statewide. So we had a windfall this year, but I don't expect to have that next year.
Amount of money paid, no matter the organization, the road mile the same? So no matter the organization, if I pick up trash,
You're talking about the volunteer litter crews. Okay. Volunteer litter crews are paid $100 per road mile that they clean. I also give them a payment for delivering the bags of trash to the recycling center. It's a separate payment.
same flat amount?
Yes, $50 a mile.
Anyone else? Hearing no one, we have a motion and a second here. I sign this. All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Polly Hilton is here today, our Animal Control Director, and we have another grant application for deceased animal removal, and Polly can review that. Thank you.
We're once again applying for the dead animal removal grant. That is through the Kentucky Ag Department. This grant helps producers on the proper removal of deceased livestock, as well as the removal of dead deer on county roads.
Make that motion, Judge.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is there any questions?
I just want to point out in the request that we also needed to make you the DAR grant administrator, so I want to make sure that's part of the motion.
Correct.
All right, anyone else? How much? You know how many animals we picked up this last year, Polly?
It was 163.
163. All right, and then what happens with those? They go to
Go to the landfill.
Phil's. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Smaller animals will dispose of in our compost back behind the building if we pick them up.
Right. Compost pile, basically, for lack of a better term, the animals in the pile deteriorate and dissolve, and after a while they're gone, correct?
The dirt in about a month.
Month. Okay. Well, I think we've all heard that saying that from dirt you ag, it's something like that. You're starting out as dirt, you're going back to dirt.
What's the biggest animal you can compost that you draw the line at?
A large dog. We have done deer, but
Small deer.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the Bible and biology here on Fiscal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Did we miss something in community business?
Sure did. And it's right in front of me here, and I went right by it. So
I keep telling you, you got to bring those glasses to court. You're at that age now.
I'm sorry. We have a discussion and resolution here for disaster relief for Eastern and Western Kentucky. I believe Magistrate Towns, did you want to talk about that? Okay.
Judge. This past Saturday, I was talking to a magistrate in Owen County, Owenton, and he and I were just discussing things, and so I said, what are you doing this weekend? He said, well, the magistrates and the county judge are leaving to go to Eastern Kentucky. We're going to take 6 dump trucks and a skid steer loader. We're going to help them clean up. And so he kind of looked at me and said, y'all going to make a contribution? And I just looked him in the eye and I said, yes, we are. So that's what brings us about. I don't know that we, enough of us would have the expertise to drive 6 dump trucks and a skid steer loader. So we just are in a county that's very blessed. We've had our share, I guess, at times of big winds and flooding, but nothing like what Eastern and Western Kentucky have had. So also we're geographically far away from both of those areas, and so we just kind of tend to forget this. And so we did send some personnel to Western Kentucky, coroner and different people, and we actually have part of the Oldham County water system in Eastern Kentucky right now, trying to help them with their water situations. So anyway, we have made contributions, but anyway, I just thought that it would be good for us to make a monetary contribution to Western Kentucky and to Eastern Kentucky. And to that effect, I'm going to make a motion that we spend $50,000 to Western Kentucky and $50,000 to Eastern Kentucky. And the judge and different magistrates are going to be at the local governor's issue conference this weekend or this week in Louisville, and they're going to try to find out the agencies to send that to so that the money is used the best that it can be used. In other words, we can't write a check to a county like, say, Knox County or to Mayfield or something like that. We have to send it to an agency like Red Cross or maybe KIPTA or something like that to be used accordingly. So anyway, I'm making the motion that we spend that money for those two causes.
All right, moved and seconded that the Oldham County provide $50,000 for flood relief in Eastern Kentucky and tornado relief in Western Kentucky. Is there any further discussion or any questions about what we should do? Woosley.
As Magistrate Greenwell mentioned, we have been blessed here in Oldham County. I've actually been on the ground in Western Kentucky after the tornadoes, and I was in Eastern Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. But both areas were devastated. However, both areas have also been declared federal disaster areas, and they've got federal money coming into them. And I'm not opposed of sending a check. However, if we really want to be impactful, let's set up some donation areas across the county. They really need cleaning supplies, and let's fiscal court put our money where our mouth is, and we go out there one day and do some cleaning or something other than just writing a check and sending out there. If we really want to be impactful, I think that's where it would best serve us.
When we were on the magistrate call last Thursday, the problem that they're running into is storage of materials and stuff. And what the gentleman told us from one of the counties is that they're getting inundated with supplies and they have no place to store them. So I guess where I am is, I agree. I mean, I was on Amazon during the conference call. There's a product that they were looking for, a mold and mildew remover. They were looking for it in 5-gallon buckets. So I was like, all right, we can send several 5-gallon buckets, but they got no place to put it. So I think we're kind of at a catch-22. I agree with you, but we're kind of at a catch-22. If we send them a bunch of material, they don't have any place to put it. So we're during the conference call, the judge, I believe, of Knox County was saying, here are some organizations to help us further our cause to get things cleaned up.
I think $100,000 would go a long way. Here in Oldham County, we've got police officers that are leaving. We could use that money for raises for them folks. And if we really want to be impactful, I'm willing to go out there with any of you guys and throw a shovel on the back of the car and do some cleanup. I think that's what they really need out there, is just help.
There is going to be some opportunities that are going to be put out there this week, Magistrate Woosley, that we can take advantage of also. There'll be one announced either tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to identify two appropriate agencies to provide this financial relief to, and we'll try to do that here at the governor's conference this week in Louisville. So, is there any further discussion on this? I should like it, sorry.
Comment. I belong to the Little Harrods Creek Boat Owners Association. They call it HICBOA, but we actually gave them a little over $1,000 this week, and the gal that won the 50-50 drawing, she just dropped her winning ticket in the basket and gave what she won. And I think all of us are benevolent. They say give till it hurts. This kind of hurts. I didn't expect a figure like that, but I think it's a good show of good faith toward our fellow Kentuckians that need help.
Right, and I agree with Magistrate Greenwell here. We are a very blessed county. We are geographically separated from the east and west part of the state, so that and I support Magistrate Woosley's idea. Anyone in the community who has the physical ability and the ability of time, so forth, to go out and help on a personal basis, one-on-one, certainly encouraged to do so and welcome to do so. Not everybody can obviously do that, but we're stepping forward here as an entire community that acknowledges some of the suffering and pain that some of our fellow Kentuckians have experienced, and we're willing to provide financial relief to agencies that are on the ground trying to provide day-to-day living expenses, other needs that we may not be aware of. So I agree federal agencies are involved, and we've had federal agencies involved with us in the past, and unfortunately they can be more cumbersome than helpful at times, but I hope that's not the case now in eastern Kentucky. I have heard that trailers are available if they can be set up on a pad with a sewer system. Well, not too many pads. People may have electricity, but may not have any way to dispose of the sewage from a trailer. So that's a complication that has developed. So let's all do what we can, and we're certainly acknowledging our wonderful circumstance here as a community, and we haven't suffered this. If any of our neighbors in neighboring counties had been hit with the same level of devastation, I believe all of us would be off this dais and over there trying to do something one-on-one. But some of us have the ability to go, some of us don't, but we have the ability to step forward as a community and acknowledge the suffering and offer some help that we can. So with that, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion carries 8-1. Thank you. Now we're on to the committee recommendation and report. We have County Engineer Jim Stilleman and Magistrate Greenwell are going to go through some recommendations to release road erosion bonds here.
Jim, take it away.
Good afternoon. So the Southeast Christian Church River Valley campus that's located at the intersection of Lock Lane and US Highway 42 began a project a couple of years ago. It was a parking addition project. That's nearly complete but not complete, and they've begun another project. It's a building expansion. The original parking addition project required an erosion control bond in the amount of $7,650. The new project, the campus expansion, required a bond in the amount of $36,000. This new bond, which has been posted, actually is sufficient to cover both projects. So I'm recommending releasing the original $7,650 bond for the parking addition project.
Judge, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we remove the $7,650 erosion control surety bond for the River Valley campus parking addition. All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
I might have these out of order because
It's all right.
were shuffled. So this is the Eden Parkway phases 1 and 2 construction project we're talking about now. That project was completed actually in March 28th of this year. There was a delay as we were waiting for the contractor to produce the final as-built drawings that were required by LaGrange Utilities. These are as-built of the sewer system. Once we did receive those, we wanted to proceed with releasing the bonds for this project. So again, that project is complete. There were performance and payment bonds in the amount of $2,740,000. And with that project complete, I'm requesting fiscal court release those.
So move.
Moved and seconded that we release the performance and payment bonds of the Eden Parkway Phases 1 and 2 construction project in the amount of $2,740,000. All in favor of the question?
I just want to bring up a comment about the Eden Parkway construction project. I think Mr. Silverman would agree that, except for a few blips and bubbles, it went quite well.
It's a nice product in the end.
We had several contractors working out there on different on the Trilogy project, on the roundabout, on East and West Peak. So again, different people, different companies trying to work side by side. Sometimes we suffered with the fact that the 12-inch ruler wasn't always a 12-inch ruler, it seemed like. But all in all, it worked out very well. We had a few blips and bubbles, but you can see just by the size of the bond of $2.7 million, it's a pretty meaty project. So we don't see a lot of those bonds in here, but it's done. People are driving on it, and it's a nice road.
Correct. We had 3 contractors working on the 3 projects, and it could have been a lot worse than it was. It was actually it went very well with the cooperation.
A couple of things, but anyway, it went well. So thank you.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Third is the Harmony Point Subdivision Erosion Control Surety. Again, we're recommending release of that. That was a cash or check in the amount of $73,900. The Harmony Point Subdivision is located on 42, just south of 1793. When we discussed this at Road Committee a couple weeks ago, there were 2 small items that were remaining for the contractor to complete, so this received a contingent approval at Road Committee. Those 2 small items have been completed. I verified that this morning, so we're recommending the release of that bond.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion to release the Harmony Point Subdivision Erosion Control Surety Bond in the amount of $73,900. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we're down to a police hire here. I'd like to recommend we hire Frank Will Sauer, 5-year lateral police officer, at $26.06. That's an hourly rate effective August 29th. All right. So any discussion on this? All right. All in favor, please say aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We're back to our second public comment. Did anybody come in today who would like to address the fiscal court? All right, go ahead.
To award the bids for paving now. Okay. Road Superintendent Ben Kimbler and I did review the bids. Libs Paving Company was the low responsible bidder, and based on the unit prices they provided, we recommend fiscal court award this project to Libs Paving in the amount of $238,546.50.
All right, that's Fall Paving Group 2.
Clarify, so this is, I mentioned earlier that Group 1 was pushed back or postponed some. These are 2, this is for Commerce Parkway and Hawley Gibson, which were 2 roads that we felt needed to get done before the winter.
All right, do we have a motion?
Motion, Judge.
Second. Moved and seconded, we approve that bid for Libs. Whatever you said it was, I don't have it here in front of me, but
$138,546.50.
All right, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. And now we're back to public comment. Is there anybody here who would like to address the court? We'll have a comment here from our maintenance director, Rodney Gabbard.
Afternoon. I would like to be able to award Control Solutions the bid for the retrofitting of the variable air filters. We've looked through everything, and they are all of equal, and we believe that he will do a very good job.
So the retrofitting went to, who was it?
Control Solutions for $93,969.
Okay, 93.
Judge.
All right. Second, all right, moved and seconded. We accept the bid from Control Solutions for retrofitting the controllers in the fiscal court building. Is that correct? So that was? All right. $3,769.
$769.
$759.
69.
Right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. Thank you. And we're at the end of the meeting here, and we're moving at record speed for a fiscal court meeting. And so I'll ask Magistrate Logston if he has any comments today. No comments. All right. Magistrate Dye.
Judge.
Continue the trend.
All right.
Happened today.
Well, all right. All right, Magistrate Greenwell.
Just would like to say I think school got off to a good start. We're still short bus drivers. If anybody would have a inclination to be trained to be a bus driver, it's a very rewarding thing. 12 years ago, I would have said no way, but here I am. So anyway, I think school got off to a good start. Thank you very much.
All right, Magistrate Woosley.
I have a couple things. Just to add on to what Magistrate Greenwell said about the school system, back in November, you asked us to approve a traffic study for the Highway 146 corridor. That motion failed 4-5, but I'm going to ask you to revisit that and maybe provide us some additional information. I know that traffic was and is really bad in that area. I think we blamed it on COVID for a couple of years and maybe lack of bus drivers, but it's a dangerous road, and would ask you to bring that traffic study back to us to revisit that. And the only other thing I've got was Jeff Tyndall had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to wish him well and quick recovery.
All right, thank you. Okay. Magistrate Tice.
Nothing, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Likens.
Just wanted to say tomorrow and Thursday is our local governors conference. A lot of people wonder what we do. That's all day Wednesday and Thursday of this week down at the Galt House. And I just want to say everyone have a safe Labor Day. This is one of those 3-week jumps that we jump from fiscal court meetings. So it's actually the day before we meet again. So every year I just read of someone drowning in the river. It just appalls me when people are not safe and something like that happens. So be safe.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure I have any additional comments to that. I'd like to say no comment. And you can. That's right, I can say. All right, thank you for being with us today. We'll be back in 2 weeks. All in favor of adjournment, please. 3. Okay, it's a long month. Okay. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.